Welcome. This is the Bird's Eye View. I am Warduck. I'm here with Mr. Crow, and we have a special guest, Twisted Necro, Mr. Steve himself, because we're going to be talking about something that I am a fan of, and that is tattoos. So, I have tattoos. Mr. Crow, do you have any tattoos?
I do not. I have zero, and I've wanted one since I was 14.
Oh,
Since you were 14.
That's 30 plus years, people.
Jeez.
oh,
So, all right. So Steve or Twisted, we'll just call him Twisted because that's what I'm used to calling him. He owns his own tattoo parlor. And so how long have you been tattooing?
started when I was 13.
So like 5 years?
Shut up. It's been about 17 years. Legally, about 12 years.
I thought he was going to say 2.
Okay. So 13. So how did that go? How did that come about? Like what drew you to it? And like, how did you get a hold of the machine? Did you just use the prison pen and ink way, or like 13's
no,
kind of young.
actually.
So.
What happened was when I was 11, I wanted to get a piercing. It was just an ear piercing. So we went to this parlor, and I was just looking through all the books, all the wall art, and I was like, man, this stuff is awesome. Like, because it wasn't just the flash stuff. It was tattoos that the people in the shop had done, which you usually don't see very often. Usually it's just flash art you see on the wall in those little sleeves or whatever. Well, I was looking through them. I'm like, man, this is cool. I really want a tattoo now. So I was talking to the dude who was doing my piercing, and he's like, well, if you wanted to come here on like your weekends when you're not in school, we can, teach you. So down the line when you're older, you can start on your own.
Oh, that's cool.
So every weekend for the next 2 years, I was in there just studying everything they were doing. Finally, he
At age 13.
At age 13, this is about right what I'm talking about right now.
So
he brings me.
Hold on. So you're in a shop, right? Like when they're actually working and stuff, right? You're 13. Yep. Are people coming in and get tattoos going?
What's this kid doing here? Like who brought their kid to work?
Is some random orphan on the street? Or I mean,
This shop was a family-run shop, so there was always kids there in general.
So you were just another. Okay.
Oh, I was just another one to
so
the group.
You were like wall art, like part of the.
Yeah, part of the experience.
Okay.
I can see somebody, sitting in the chair. One's work, and he's got a Subway. So you missed the line. You just right there, a little mustard come down the side.
So he's based out of Wisconsin, so it'd be like a big old slice of cheese or something.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Hell yeah. Yep, cheese and beef jerky.
Okay, so you're 13 in this shop. This guy, you're just watching, or is he like, here, grab the gun and do this line real quick? Or...
Nah, I never did any of that. Basically, I was just a young apprentice. I'd go get refills for like the ink cups. I'd wash his equipment when he was done. I'd break down his station. I just did all the little meaningless stuff that, didn't have an actual effect on the tattoos. But it was like a week after I turned 13, he brought me this little box that had my own machine in it. And he's like, here's this. And then he brought me like 3 layers of pigskin. He's like, I want to see what you can do on this pigskin. If you can do good on these 3 pigskins, I'll let you tattoo me.
Okay, hold on. Let's just hold on real quick. Okay, so just for you that aren't familiar with tattooing and the way people learn and stuff, pigskin is super, super duper similar to our own skin. And so they get these swasses of pigskin, not real pig, not live pig.
No, it's been gone for a while.
And they tattoo on the pig skin to learn how the skin reacts when you're tattooing it and what it feels like to get all that other stuff. Okay, sorry. I know.
Okay, so I've got a further question on that because now I'm thinking I've got this little tiny thin piece of skin. Do you do that on top of a desk or
yes? You do it on top of a desk so that you know how deep you're going.
But the pig skin isn't. It isn't like this. This isn't like it's thick.
No, I was thinking it's like a 1/4 inch thick.
trying to see if I have something around me that's
I
the
watch
same
horror
thickness.
movies. We skin people. No.
It's probably, I'd say, probably about that thick. It's decent, but it's to a point. It's like cut specifically for us.
Like if you have a phone, it's like how thick it is.
Yeah, probably about thick as a phone.
Okay, that's a little thicker than I thought, but.
And the main reason is because if you go too deep, you'll hear that rattle on the desk. If you hear that rattle, you're messed up. You did wrong because you don't want to do too deep. Because if you go too deep, that's when you seriously injure people and you'll give them scars for life.
Instead of ink spots for life, you get scars.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, I just practiced on these 3. I think it was like foot by foot pig slabs. And I did one a weekend, and finally by the 3rd one, he's like, "All right, come here." So he laid down on the bed, and I got to tattoo his shin bone, so I could see how it feels to go against bone and how to react towards bone. And it was just this little 4-leaf clover, because he wanted to see my line work and then all that. And that's what really kicked it off. From there, he just let me tattoo all the friends, the hang-arounds, and all that. I couldn't legally do it, so.
Now.
Hey, fish bait, come here.
For those of you that don't know, Twisted has been colorblind for life.
What?
Yep.
So
seriously?
Yeah.
So his tattooing has been. What the? Goddamn Zoom. His tattooing has been black and white since he started because he doesn't see all the colors until
it was only very recently that I've been able to see color, and oh my god, these things are amazing.
So
Twisted
got some color corrective glasses for his particular brand of color blindness. So now that he can actually see, he put a video up on, I think on his YouTube page where he put them on and he was like, "We have pink wallpaper? What the hell?"
That was not what I wanted to happen when I first put the glasses on. Get mad at my house. Like, man.
Instead of those blind reactions of like, "Oh my, wow." He's all like, "Oh man."
I was a little irritated at first.
I'm like, Barbie house.
So
only recently has he started tattooing in color. In the last 4 months or so, 4 or 5 months.
For the past 13 years, I was known as what they call it, a black and gray specialist. Specialize in black and gray. Pretty much, my arms are mostly black and gray because of that. I did most of my own arms. Why get colored tattoos when you can't see color? I mean, honestly.
Well, because tattoos are for everybody else, not you. I mean,
the only one that I had from color was my breast cancer ribbon. And I didn't even realize it had blue in it until I got these glasses.
All right. So how many tattoos do you think you have done?
That I have personally given?
Yeah.
No,
how many have I done? Well, yeah, how many have you done?
Oh, Jesus.
Smart. Take a wild guess. I know you can't count without your fingers and stuff, so just throw out a number.
Wild guess, probably 5,000-6,000 tattoos.
5,000 or 6,000 tattoos. Over how long? 15?
Over 17 years.
17. God dang. So at what point in your situation, your life or whatever, did you decide that I'm tired of tattooing for somebody, I wanna open my own shop? Like,
that is a very specific answer I'm going to give you. I was working out of a place that's real bad. It's just in the hood, ghetto, basically.
So the location was bad, or the owners were bad, or
it was
what?
A mixture of both.
Okay.
The location was bad, but I needed an inn because I just moved to the area, so I needed a shop to take me in because I needed to make money right away.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew this guy for a while. I'm like, all right, well, if you got a spot for me, I'll take it. So he had a spot for me. I worked for my first 2 weeks because this was another weird thing. Tattoos are usually, you get paid out by tattoo. This dude was paying out bi-weekly, like a regular job.
Like a job. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And the worst part was we discussed 50-50. So split it right down the middle. Whatever the tattoo cost, whatever they give, he gets half, I get half. Because I wasn't paying for the supplies. I was just doing the work. Realized he was given 70-30. I was only getting 30% of what I was supposed to get. And he was cooking the books, basically. He was writing it like it was supposed to be, but not showing us that part. So I got irritated and, I said something to him. And it literally turned into a fight. And after the fight, I looked at him and I said, I just hope you know that your doors are going to be closed. And he goes, oh, you can't do nothing. You can't do nothing about it.
Well, that time.
Mm-hmm.
Just when Twisted said this is a fight, you mean like fisticuffs?
Oh, yeah.
Now
we got in a real fight.
How tall are you, Twisted?
I'm 6'4".
Oh, dang.
And how much
You're a
do
lot
you
bigger
weigh?
than I thought.
I weigh a little over 300.
Okay, so when Twisted says it was a fight at 6'4", 300, he doesn't mean like two people were just throwing fucking bombs. He means he was like holding the guy by the face and like, that whole thing.
And that's pretty much it. He was only 5'7". He weighed probably about 240. He was a big, he had a lot of muscle to him, but it wasn't a fair fight. Let's just say that.
Okay. All right. So I just wanted to clear that part. Okay. So you guys got in a confrontation, and then you told him the doors are going to be closed.
Yep. I told him his doors are going to be closed. And 2 months later, I had contacted a lawyer, got a lawyer on my side. I talked to some people at City Hall, and I rented my first business, which was right next to a little bar casino thing, just little slot machines,
right,
nothing else.
That's totally not where I thought you were going with the whole, I contacted a lawyer and everything.
Well, there's more to it. Hold on.
I was like, I contacted a lawyer and they raided his shop and they kicked him in, but all right.
So within 2 days of me opening my doors, he had no artists left because I stole every artist he had.
Oh,
I stole his apprentice, and within 2 weeks, he had a for sale sign on his door.
Now, some people would call that a dick move.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He deserved it. He was cheating all of us. He was
Twisted's all like
a scummy person.
Yeah, pretty much.
So basically, you just went over to all his employees and said, hey, look, I'm going to treat you fairly and like you're being treated now. Come on over here.
Yep. And I still have 3 of those artists on my payroll today. Now that I own my own building, because this was 8 years ago.
Oh,
and,
wow.
I bought my own building 2 years ago. I was still renting for a long time, but I finally got the funds to purchase a building. So it is now my building, and I have 6 total artists, 2 are apprentices, 4 are full-time. And 3 of those I stole from this dude. And this guy actually contacted me probably last year asking for a job. I said, yeah, sure, 90-10.
All right, so you say you have 4 full-time artists. Is that including you?
No, that is not including me.
So how many beds or stalls or whatever you have?
We have 6 individual rooms. 1 is specifically for piercings. 4 are for our artists, and then 1 is mine, which I do private piercings, things like genitalia and stuff like that. And then I do my tattoos in. And then we have the front area, which has the open stalls, and there's 4 of them. So I could technically put in 2 more artists.
So you have private back stalls, and then you have the front.
Yes.
Okay. So you have 2 part-time tattooers then?
They are apprentices. So
okay.
They are like, one of them is at the stage where they're doing tattoos, but they're doing them at like a severely discounted rate because they're an apprentice. You have to sign a specific waiver for that.
Sure.
The other one is still not even on pigskin yet. He's still on fruit. So
on fruit.
You start off on fruit to get used to how the ink sits.
Like an apple or a banana or what?
I'm thinking an orange.
It's an orange or like a pear.
Mr. Crow.
Stuff like that.
I would have not thought a pear. Be like, I've got very soft, sensitive skin. I'm like a pear.
Okay. So
maybe a peach.
So okay, you've been tattooing a lot of years. Did you ever do a tattoo when you looked at it, you were just like, I'm so sorry.
See, this is the route I wanted to go to.
Go ahead.
Where have you just messed up so bad?
So I was doing.
What do you do?
I was doing a stippling tattoo.
What the hell is a stippling?
What's that?
I don't know if you can tell on my palm. You see how it's just a bunch of little dots?
Uh-huh.
That's all it is. There are no lines in a stippling tattoo. It's just dots.
Oh, it's a dot art. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I was doing one of those on this lady. It was on her foot, and it was of a flower with a name underneath it. And I was doing fine. And then I wasn't doing so fine. I look at it. I'm like, I just put this whole row of dots that shouldn't have been there. So now I looked right at her. I said, I'm sorry. I got to rework this. It's going to take another hour and a half, but I'll get it done.
Oh.
And all it was the stencil had washed off.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, because you normally stencil. How did you come up with a line with it? But it's just because it washed off.
It didn't wash off like completely gone. It like when I wiped to clear the
ink
canvas, it moved the dots over a little bit, like smudged them. So I'm like still following it. And then I realized my mistake. I'm like, well, shit, I am so sorry. This one's free and I will fix it for you right now. It turned out good. It didn't start so good.
Did it turn out? Dang. Was it still the same thing she wanted when you were done, or did you have to like totally change the tattoo?
It was the same thing she wanted. It was just a little wider than what she wanted.
So basically, you went into some freestyle, freehand.
Yeah, that actually happens a lot.
Okay.
You start off with a stencil, and then it's just sometimes it just washes off.
You do a lot of like firemen, you were telling me.
Yes.
And so what happened to the last guy that you were tattooing with firemen?
So I had done. It was this big piece, it was probably 2 foot long, probably a foot.
Oh, okay.
I did half of it because that's how I do the firemen. Because a lot of the time, if they're on call, they got to go and they got to go now. So I usually work my way from one side to the other, which you usually don't do on a regular tattoo.
Usually so that's how I do the outline first. And then...
So he goes to a call. He comes back probably 4 hours later, takes his shirt off. No stencil, nothing. I'm like, well, I can't re-stencil you.
Well, okay,
so I'm just gonna have to freehand.
Why can't you re-stencil?
Yeah, why can't you do that?
Okay, so the reason you can't re-stencil is because it will never line up. No matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, it will never line up. There'll always be above or below that just doesn't sit right. And that is due to swelling of the skin that you've already tattooed.
Oh.
So you don't want to re-stencil because it could be off by just a little bit. Now, a normal person may not notice it, but I would notice it. And then they would notice it. And then I wouldn't be comfortable letting that leave my shop.
So instead you just, what?
So basically I'd become your prisoner. Okay.
Basically you sit there until I'm done. I do a little bit of drawing and then I just go at it.
So you just freehand it from there.
Yep.
Wow.
I actually prefer to freehand.
Be somebody that can't draw, I'd be like, we're going to sit here for an hour until I can re-stencil this motherfucker.
Yeah. Be like, I hope you brought a Coke. Because this is going to be a while.
Or some Coke, but whatever.
Something.
Okay,
wow.
Legally, I can't say that because you can't be under the influence of any substance while getting tattooed or being tattooed. But
oh yeah, I forgot about that waiver you have to sign.
Yeah.
So what is this waiver? What are some things that are on it that you should probably nobody reads, but should probably keep your eye on it anyway?
The biggest one. Do you have any sexually transmitted diseases, AIDS, herpes, anything like that? Because it's blood, and we're dealing with your blood. So the biggest and first question on there is that, because I'm not saying we don't work on those people. The reason that is the first question is because then there's a series of, are you okay with us wearing such and such to do the procedure? Because we have full face masks that cover everything from our nose down. So, obviously we still gotta be able to see.
Yeah. You got gonorrhea. I'm gonna tattoo you in my spacesuit.
That's pretty much it. That's the precautions we have to take,
Wow.
And then
do your piercing down there.
I have done some very questionable piercings looking like a space person. Like I've had the face mask, you know, the vision guard that you see at like hospitals, had those on. I've had gloves all the way up to my, you know, armpit. You know, it's.
Have you?
Wow.
Okay, because
Can you turn people away? Just
Oh, I can turn anyone away I want.
you'd be like,
It's my discretion.
Not feeling that one today.
I've
You're gonna
done
have
it.
to go.
So okay, because that was where I was going.
I know
Have
this
you
guy
ever
who
done
doesn't
one
do
where
very
you
well.
were started to do it and you were just like, I can't do it. Like a tattoo or a piercing or anything. Like, I know you want this here, lady or dude, but I just can't. I just can't.
Is this supposed to tingle like that?
Okay, so there was this girl. I'm not gonna put her on blast because she.
Yeah, no names, no names.
Yeah, this is
She's
already
like
going.
50 years old. She would come in once a week when she got her paycheck, and she'd had to get a piercing or a tattoo. That was like
Good Lord.
her ecstasy. It was her release from the week. And she wanted a tramp stamp, which is right above the ass crack. So I got her laying on my table. I've got her pants, you know,
So
still
bad.
covering her. And I'm sitting there and I'm tattooing. I'm like, what is this smell? Like, it is terrible. So then I'm sitting there and I'm tattooing like this. And I'm pulling the skin with my arm so that it's, you know, taut, not, you know, rubbery. So I'm sitting there like this. And she goes, what's wrong? I'm like, man, you stink. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm on my period and I don't wear anything. I'm like, nah, get out of my shop. Don't come back. Nope, that was it. I was done.
Oh,
I'm
God.
like, what do you mean you don't wear anything? She's like, I don't use tampons or pads. I just let it happen. I'm like, nope, bye.
Oh man.
The next day, I posted a sign on the front and the back of the door with her picture and her name saying, is not welcome here.
Dang.
Because she used to come around every week for
Jeez, okay.
3-4 years.
All right, what's the best? We better go a different direction.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of bad ones.
What's the best tattoo you've ever done?
Best tattoo.
Or the one you're most proud of, or however you want to decide your best is.
The one I'm most proud of is we had a breast cancer thing going on because one of our artists had lost his wife. And that's why I have the ribbon on my arm. And we were doing, basically it was a charity event. Anybody who came in to pay for a tattoo, all the money go towards his family so that they could put it to rest and have money, you know, to do whatever they wanted. Because, you know, we felt terrible, you know, nobody should go through that. So the mother of the lady that passed away from breast cancer had wanted her portrait, and she wanted it just, you know, something little. I said, I can't do that. If I'm going to do a portrait of somebody like this, I'm doing a full-size portrait.
Oh man.
So I stenciled this portrait on this lady's back. Now, mind you, she's fairly older. She's got some wrinkly skin, so it was a little bit harder to deal with. It was very complicated to do this tattoo. But it just, I had so much faith in my technique that I knew that it was going to turn out great. It took me 9 hours to get this portrait done. And I had
At one
everybody
time?
there at one time. This was in one sitting. I had everybody there in tears. People just started, you know, taking pictures and sharing it around. And I think that if I'm going to have to try and find that picture again, it's been years since I've done that one.
Wow.
But I could not have been more proud of that tattoo.
So
9
in
hours.
context, I have a fairly decent pain tolerance, but with this tattoo, it goes all the way back here, down up under your ear, underneath, and then all this stuff. Is I will tell you that I figured out doing all this, I had about a 2.5 hour window where I can just blanket and just not even worry about it. After that 2.5 hours, I'm like, my mental fortitude starts to waver, and I'm like, okay, we're done.
That's
so
2.5 hours is about the normal.
So for somebody
people.
to sit 9 hours, just is insane. But like when they were doing this stuff down in the armpit, like I can just blanket. It doesn't bother me for you to do it. I can feel it, and this stuff down here just felt straight like a straight knife. When people were just doing it. Dang. Just felt like somebody took a knife and was like...
I have usually a high pain tolerance. Like I did all my arms probably couple days. My upper arm one, I don't know if you guys can see it. Hold on.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yep. Again.
Which way do I gotta go that way? That one took probably about 6 hours. That was done by an artist at a convention, and that took 6 hours. But these ones on my neck, I don't know if you can see them.
Yep.
Sort of, yeah.
2 skulls.
Yeah.
Took about an hour, and I was ready to be done. I'm like, no. We gotta stop. So it's all about location.
Okay,
and pain tolerance.
so that's the next question is I've heard like ribs and neck are the 2 worst places to get tattoos. Is that true, or are there other worse? Well,
there are
like,
way worse ones.
I'm not talking genital area because obviously that would be
No.
But...
I don't know if
I'm thinking under the armpits.
you guys
Got
can
to hurt.
see right there in my armpit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that is the only tattoo I almost ever passed out during. I was close.
This is where mine's all down up underneath.
Yeah.
Into there.
But yeah, I didn't even show you the part that's actually in my armpit because it's way down further. But that was the only tattoo, and I stopped that tattoo. That tattoo's incomplete. It's an outline because I almost passed out. I've got over 300 tattoos, and I've got probably about 10,000 hours under the needle on my body alone. And that's the only spot I was like, nah.
So if somebody comes in and they want a tattoo there, do you like no?
I warn them immediately that you might pass out. You might want to bite on something. Because I've got my ribs, I've got my neck, I've got my head done on both sides, I've got behind my ears.
Do you ever make people do a different tattoo somewhere else first? If it's like,
if they haven't already gone under a machine for, I'd say at least 2-3 tattoos, I will not do shins. I will not do elbows. I will not do throat. And I will not do ribs.
Your shins and your elbows hurt?
Bone is bone.
It's hitting the bone.
You know, my shin. Oh God, that was terrible. Yeah, shins are bad.
Okay,
but
so
they're bearable.
Where is a good location to get started?
Arms, legs, calves, thighs.
Meaty fatty parts.
Meaty parts.
Okay.
So if you've never had a tattoo, go with upper arm, like Duck's got. That's a good spot.
My very
for a starter.
first tattoo was back here, and the only part that bothered me when I was 18 years old was going across the shoulder blade.
Shoulder blades can be bad.
Otherwise, it wasn't really bad. But I was 18-year-old, so I was like, that don't hurt.
I can do this.
That don't hurt at all.
Wow.
And
okay.
I don't. So my very first tattoo was a guy by name of Rusty Savage. You ever heard that name?
Does sound familiar.
He was a famous 60s and 70s tattoo artist down in the California area at the time.
Okay. And
then there's another guy, Dr. Strange.
I've heard of him.
He did this piece right here. These 2 pieces right here.
Oh, cool.
Who was another back in the 70s, was in all the tattoo magazines back then. But so like that goes back is like the history of tattooing, right? Is it started way back with the Native Americans and the Polynesians. And what happened was, like some of the Native American chieftains actually took trips to Europe back in the 1800s, and were showing the kings and royalty tattoos and stuff, and so some of the royals started getting tattoos, and I don't remember which one exactly, but one of the kings, European kings, actually went to China and got the dragon tattoo by one of the famous artists there. But it became this thing, and then what happened was American women started getting these tattoos because it was it was more expensive than clothing, but less expensive than jewelry.
Yep.
And they would put them in places where you couldn't really see, but a lot of these ladies were like prostitutes and things like that, because it was more alluring because it was like taboo and different and things like that. But so Native American women used to tattoo themselves for pain.
Yep.
Like they would have toothaches or something like that, and they would tattoo to get rid of the pain there. And I think it's like you only have so many pain receptors. So if this hurts more than that, then this is the one that's going to hurt, I guess.
Yep.
I don't. That's the only thing
true.
I can assume is that's how that worked for them.
Wow.
But
that's interesting.
So then it became we're going to talk about American tattoo history here. And then it became more to the Navy, the sailors. Not Navy, the sailors.
Yeah.
But well, actually, let's back up. So the next broad American tattooing where it was like kind of a lot of people were doing it was in the Civil War. A lot of people were getting tattooed in the Civil War for identification purposes.
Yep.
So
they would actually get dog tags tattooed on them and things like that.
So before they would go out to war and stand 20 feet across from the other dude standing in line with guns pointing at each other, they would go get tattoos for identification purposes. And that was like the start of mainstream tattooing. And that's kind of what led to the Navy and the military is from that military style tattooing is they start getting tattooed because sailors are a super duper superstitious bunch. And so they start getting tattoos for superstitious reasons and to mark different events like crossing the whatever, that line out in the ocean that goes to somewhere else or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, or the equator or whatever it is. But they would get like tattoos of animals on their feet because those animals were land bound or something. And I don't know. So who knows what their other superstitions were, but it started becoming more mainstream in the Navy. And then when those people were transitioning out of the militaries or the Navy or coming back on land, people were seeing these works of art. And it started to get a little more acceptable. And then in the 70s, with that whole culture of, peace, love, smoking weed, and let's get some tattoos, it got even bigger, especially within the biker gangs and biker groups and those police, because most of those started from the military too. Most of those motorcycle clubs started with military folks coming back from like I without knowing totally for sure, because this part I'm not sure, but if I remember what I read was a lot of the motorcycle gangs started from the Vietnam returnees.
Yes.
Needing that community, if I remember my history correctly.
They didn't feel that the police were doing their job. So the main reason that it all started is because they wanted people to respect them. They wanted the authority that they deserved, is what they felt.
Right, because when they got home, they were spit on and outcasted and ostracized, and so they needed that military community, that brotherhood style togetherness that they were missing from being over there, and they started these groups, motorcycle groups. Some of these fringe became outlaws, but there's still a lot of motorcycle clubs out there that are not outlaws, but tattooing, because of the military aspect, became a huger thing in those biker clubs. And so that spread tattooing even farther and farther across the nation. But I feel like it's only been in the last 20 or 30 years where tattooing's really been mainstream, where just anybody can get one and there's no real taboo against it.
So when it first started, obviously because of the way it was brought up, because of the gangs and all that, if you were seen with a tattoo, you were scum. People did not respect you. They immediately associated with you with gangs and violence. And
or
in
fringe
my time,
society, no matter what.
yeah, yeah. And in my time of being tattooed and tattooing, it's only been up until the last probably 6 or 7 years that tattoos have become actually acceptable. See, people, for the last probably 20, 30 years, like you said, average people like us could get tattooed, but it
Well,
wasn't up until the last 10 years that,
like us,
yeah,
not
you too.
us.
You too. It was up until probably within the last 10 years that I stopped getting stared at constantly for having as many as I have.
Well, that's probably not why they were staring at you.
Shut up, motherfucker. And it's been been a rough go, but it's changed in the last 10 years so much that people are coming in that I'd never expect them to walk into my shop. They just look like your average Joe works in, pharmaceuticals or something,
Okay,
coming in wanting full sleeves, and it's like, I got you, bro.
So what about piercing? Has that followed along, or has that taken longer to become societal accepted, or is it still on the fringe?
Touch and go, because there's certain piercings that you see all the time, like the side nostrils. I've got one on each side. That's very common. You see that a lot. Ears, that's another thing. The only thing that's still not really accepted is like my bull ring, my septum piercing. People don't really accept that. And then
Ear
my
holes.
gauges. Yeah.
Gauge.
This is still not accepted anywhere. I mean, people do it, but people get grossed out by it. They think it stinks. They think it's gross. It will never grow back.
So I've seen, I don't know why people are so needing to flaw themselves, right? Because, and I don't mean the flaws in wrong. I just mean like a mole or something is a flaw in your skin. That's just technically what it is. Yeah. But I've seen a lot of these people get mole piercings to purposely put a flaw some place.
Yeah, those are dimple piercings. Those
dimple piercing.
It's stupid. I've done it on a few people just because that's big money, because that's
I was going to say they pay the bills,
muscle and everything. It's like, that's big money, so of course I do it.
What's the swimsuit model that had the one on her lip that everybody copies? I can't.
Monroe?
No.
Because that's what that piercing on the upper lip is called. It's called the Monroe.
I thought Cindy Crawford had it. Wasn't it Cindy Crawford that had it?
She did have one, yes.
Okay, so Monroe and Cindy Crawford kind of started that whole piercing phase.
Yep.
And didn't Madonna also try that thing too for a while?
She faked it.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah.
She wouldn't even get a piercing. She just had a makeup artist,
Draw on a mole. Can you mole me right here? That's funny. Okay, so what do you? Is there a progression to tattoos, or is tattooing kind of always been the same? No, I'm not wording this.
It's advanced a lot. I mean, people see it, oh, it's the same, but it's not. Our machines are improving, which improves our technique. Which
but isn't it still just a rotary gun, like the same one that was invented way back in 1861?
For one, it's not a gun; it's a machine. But
I'm thinking of an egg beater. He's just cranking it, and it's this little thing, just ding, ding,
but
ding.
No,
ding,
there are a lot that are rotaries, but I have a machine that is not a rotary. It looks like a pen, and it does just as good as a rotary machine. There's 4 or 5 different style machines now that you can get.
So just the first tattoo machine was was created off of Einstein or Bell, one of those smart people way back when, was created off their idea of the electric pen. They took that idea and made the first gun, I think, way back in 1861. I mean,
because
machine.
the first design was basically based off of a Tesla coil, and it just worked for power. You didn't need much to output, and you could pack a punch.
Okay, so when did these new machines start coming out? Last 5 years, 10 years?
Last 10 years, yeah.
Last 10 years. So tattooing went like 200 years before they decided to upgrade their machines.
Well, I mean, look at computers. I mean, last 20 years, look how far computers have come.
It's true.
Yeah, but computers are only 40 years old, not 240 years old.
Yeah, but for the longest time, why fix something that isn't broken? It worked. It's just only until recently that people have realized that certain impacts and certain techniques to the skin changes how things look.
So, from a rotary machine, what's the new technology, tattoo technology called?
I don't know.
I don't know. I just used it and it works. So
right. I've never questioned it. I'm like, I've seen demonstration at Chicago Art Convention, and they're like, there's no rotary, it's simple powers, just up, down. I'm like, okay. Well, let's try it.
So has ink evolved?
Ink has evolved, and that changes yearly. That is something that's always evolving, because it's like there's some mad scientist in a basement somewhere that's like, all right, the ink is good, but we need it better.
So if you ever see some guy with like just multicolored lines everywhere, it's like, but that guy designs ink for tattoos. He's like,
the way we actually test ink is when I buy a new brand of ink, I'll give myself dots on my leg to see how long that dot stays, if it shrinks, if it grows, because you don't want it to expand too much, but you definitely don't want it to shrink, because that's when you start seeing skin in between, what you're doing, and that's not good. I found one brand, and I've stuck with it for the past 3 years, that is supposed to last 10 years. Well,
are you
it's only
sponsored by that brand?
I was going to be, but then COVID happened.
Okay, I was gonna say you could plug them if you were sponsored by it. Never mind.
That's why I didn't say anything, because right now I'm not. But the ink is supposed to last.
Sponsored by some machines and beds, aren't you?
Yes, Tattoo Dragon.
Tattoo Dragon provided you beds and machines at one point.
Yep, they did, and I am still sponsored, and I still have their logo on my door.
Right. And so
they are.
So where are you located?
I am in Wisconsin.
That's big. You don't want to tell anybody where your shop is located?
Madison, Wisconsin, state capital.
Madison, Wisconsin, state capital. And what's it called?
It is called Public Enemy.
All right, Public Enemy Tattoo.
Nice.
Way to bring it mainstream. Way to bring tattoos mainstream. Okay, all right.
So I got one question too. That's all kind of come up to what I'm at least thinking. What kind of advice would you give aspiring tattoo artists or that?
An aspiring tattoo artist?
Yeah.
Don't give up. It's tough to start. It really is hard. You get discouraged a lot. And then you'll fuck up your first tattoo, and then you'll really get discouraged, but you cannot give up. I've been doing it for 17 years, and I still mess up to this day. I mean, you're not perfect. You're dealing with a moving canvas. You're dealing with moving parts and ink and blood. Things go wrong. Don't let that get to you, because it's not all like that. You'll have years where you don't mess anything up, and then you mess up one time, and you'll be like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. You can't do that, because that's not a good artist.
Okay.
Artists make mistakes and overcome.
So, can you be a tattooed artist if you can't draw for shit?
Yes. I have an artist who can't draw a turkey. Like, that you kid, put your hand on, trace your fingers.
How does that work?
He can't even draw a turkey.
How does that work? How
I don't know where the feathers go.
Because aren't you basically drawing, right?
You're tracing. That's what tattooing pretty much is. If you've got the stencil on there properly, you wait the amount of time, it's just tracing and coloring. You're not actually drawing anything.
Unless your stencil wipes off.
Unless your stencil wipes off, then that's when I get a phone call.
my stencil's gone. I can't trace. You got to come in.
I've gotten that call a few times because we call them stencil artists. They can only tattoo off a stencil. They can't freehand. They can't draw. They're just, but they know how to work a machine and they know how to get the ink in properly. So yes.
All right.
You can.
So so I can trace or I can draw and trace. How do I become an apprentice somewhere?
Go to a shop.
Show up and be like, hey, I want to be
The
a
best
tattoo
thing to
artist.
do is go to every shop you know of. Hang around for a little bit. If you don't like the feel of the shop, the atmosphere of it, don't even bother asking. You have to be comfortable in that shop. So I would suggest if you want to apprentice, either A, find somebody that that tattoos and asks them, hey, could you teach me a little so that I could go and get an apprenticeship? Or B, just become a hang-around. Go to the shops, spend a little bit of money here and there.
I have a name for them. Become a hang-around.
Yeah, hang-arounds. Yeah.
It's got a hang-around.
And then just get an in and basically feel around. If you like the shop, ask them, be like, hey, I'm interested in becoming a tattoo artist. What can you do? And they will either say, wait until I'm done with my current apprentice, find one of the artists in the shop that's willing to let you be an apprentice, or just hang around and we'll find you a shop that you're comfortable in.
So nowhere...
We won't turn you away unless we know you're not going to actually do it. You're just, I want to be a tattoo artist,
So nowhere in there did I hear, go get a gun and practice on your neighbor or your buddy.
No, that will get you... That will get you banned and barred from every shop in your town. Those are called scratchers.
They have a name too.
Do not condone that at all. If you go out and buy a machine and you're like, all right, I got this, and you've never tattooed, you've never apprenticed, you've never done it, and you start tattooing, I guarantee you will never find a position in a legitimate shop in that town or that state because word of mouth spreads. We all know each other.
Well, what if you just try on your dog or something?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Right. Then you're going to prison.
Okay, so Mr. Crow has no tattoos.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Crow likes tattoos and thinks it's interesting, but doesn't have one. So what is your advice to somebody that doesn't have a tattoo that might want to get one or wants to get one?
Just do it.
Just go get some shit you pick off the wall and be like, go ahead and throw that on me.
No, obviously put some thought behind what you want.
Oh, I've done that for many years.
Do not, and I repeat, do not do flash art. Those binders that they see that's just random pictures that they've printed off the internet of just a basic design. Do not do that because I guarantee you there's a couple thousand people with that tattoo.
Mm.
And that's the last thing you want to do is walk into a place and be like, hey, I got that tattoo, man. See, like I've got Jack and Sally on my hand, but this is a custom drawn. It's, positioned how I wanted it positioned. So yes, I have something that other people will have, but not the same design, same shape, same way.
So all of my tattoos, the one here and the one all the way that goes back up all the way back up into there, and the one here were created for me, and I didn't allow pictures, and I took the stencil artwork with me because they were my own. They were my own. It was for me. It wasn't something to be redistributed for me. So people may have a Constantina wire tattoo, but it won't be this one. People may have some other artwork on there, but it will not be in the same way as this one.
When I am doing art for somebody, whether it's a simple star, whether it's a butterfly, it is all hand drawn. And when I am done, the stencil is shredded and the concepts are shredded. I don't even give them to people because I don't want them to take them like, oh, I love your tattoo. Hey, I got the stencil. Hold on, let me go get it. You can get it too,
All right, so somebody that wants a tattoo, they should get it in some meaty part, biceps or legs or somewhere like that. And
do not go for ribs, hands, throat for first tattoos, second tattoos, or even third tattoos.
And then
be aware of what you do for a living too. If you have to hide your tattoos to continue your job, that's not cool.
So So if you notice mine, when I wear a t-shirt that cuts off about right here, you can't see my tattoos because of my office job. However,
Mhm.
in the last few years, that has changed. And so now, if Steve ever gets off his lazy ass and draws my tattoo, I mean, because not like he doesn't have all the time in the world. I mean, he has his own shop and 4 kids and stuff, so he's got plenty of fucking time. But if
Yeah,
he ever,
all the time.
if,
Can't even find time to poop, but I can find time to draw you something for free.
if he ever gets it done, I am doing a tattoo from wrist to just above the elbow right here on this side because I feel like I'm lopsided right now. I don't like it. So.
And the big thing I always tell people, because they see me and they see I've got both my hands done, my knuckles done, palms, I've got my throat, head, behind my ears, all the works, bells and whistles. I only did that because this is my business. This is what I'm going to do until the day I die. I'm not going to go be
Don't
some cart pusher at
lie.
Walmart.
Don't lie.
I am
You
not
didn't
going to go
get
be some cart pusher at Walmart.
You
I'll do
didn't-
piercings for the rest of my
You
life.
did not go get those tattoos just because it was your job. Don't give me
I didn't
that.
get them because it was my job.
That's what
I
you
got
just
them. I got them because I knew this was the industry I was going to be in for the rest of my life. If I had any annotations that I was going to have to go work at Walmart or Dollar General, I did not have done it because these are not socially accepted yet. They're just not. I still get so much flack for having my hands and fingers.
So let me clarify what Twisted just said is he didn't get tattoos everywhere all of because he works in the tattoo business area. That's not why he got these tattoos. He got these tattoos because he's addicted to getting tattoos, which is exactly what happens when you get tattoos. You start to wear, I can get another one here, and I can get another one here because that's what happens. If you get one tattoo, it's very super duper unlikely that'll be your only tattoo unless you had a super poor experience and it just hurt too much for you. However, if you get one tattoo, like Steve, you will continue to get tattoos throughout your lifetime, most likely. And like I said, Steve didn't get all these tattoos behind his ears and on his head and on his neck because he works in the industry. He realized it would be acceptable for him to get those tattoos because he works in the industry, but he got those tattoos because he's addicted to getting tattoos.
The thing is,
so that's
I've wanted
what he
my
really
hands
was
done.
trying to say.
I've wanted my hands done since I was a kid. But I waited until 5 years ago to start getting my hands tattooed because I realized, why not? This industry accepts it. It's not going anywhere, so do it.
Right.
But you don't want to do it if you're just average Joe, because I will be honest, hands are not accepted everywhere yet.
So here's my advice. If you are under 25 years old, don't get a face or neck tattoo because that's dumb. Because you have no idea where your life is headed, right?
Yep.
And if you had a chance for a job in sales, car sales, and all of a sudden you have this freaking face tattoo, you are not going to get the job in car sales. Duh. So if you
I don't even have anything on my face.
If you are under 25 years old, don't get anything that you can't hide with a t-shirt and pants.
Yep. That's true.
Because you don't know where your life is going to take you. You have no idea yet. Unless you're making millions of dollars as an athlete because you're under 25 or whatever, fine, you're set for life, whatever. But if you're a normal Joe Schmo like the rest of us, if you're under 25, get your tattoos somewhere where you can put a shirt on.
Yeah, because you could get random hair up your ass and want to go to college. And then you graduate college and you can get this job. And then they look at you and be like, oh, but
I went and got
here's an issue.
I went and got my MD. I'm a medical doctor, but when I was 18, I got this face tattoo that says F you across my face, and I can't seem to get a job as a doctor.
No.
I mean, I even specialize in pediatrician care, and I can't get a kid job. I mean, what the hell?
That's not going anywhere.
True,
So get your tattoos under your shirt area and your pants area all the way down to your leg where you can cover it up. Then when you're older and you realize, hey, I'm in a job that I'm going to be in until I die because I can't retire until I'm fucking 90, then get your tattoos where it's acceptable to get your tattoos.
Yep. And even I will say, don't tattoo your face. Just don't. I want to get mine done, but I just won't. It's just not smart. Don't do it.
Yeah, but you could cover up some of that.
Fuck you. But you see all these.
That's pretty much how it goes.
You see these rappers with all these face tattoos. They're in an industry where they're making millions and millions and millions. It don't matter what they
hopefully.
do. Yeah. But the three of us will never be millionaires. Don't tattoo our faces.
Plus, I don't want to cover up pretty,
Just trust me, I really want to do my face. Fuck you, pretty, my ass. It's just, it's not smart. Just don't do it.
All right. So,
that's awesome.
Crow, you got any more questions, my dude?
No, this was awesome. This was interesting and very fun. I really liked this. Thanks.
Got anything else you want to say there, Mr. Steve?
I do. Tip your artists. It's very serious, but
we already paid you $300, $400. What the hell?
We get half. And then half of that goes into our personal supplies and repairing our stuff. Please tip your artists. And it don't have to be, 10%. Give them a $20 here. Give them 10, something. Let him go get lunch, because it's artist by artist, client by client. You might be our only client for the week.
Especially in
especially if you're working 9 hours on one person. Jeez.
Well, and especially in the thing that we're in right now with this pandemic, tattooing industry has been severely hampered because of forced shutdowns of buildings and can't get together, and because of tattooing works with blood, they're like in another category on top of that, where it's not like a restaurant or a store or something. So make sure you support your artist, and don't. Here's one more thing, Steve. I gotta ask you this because I struggle with this all the time. There's a reason I haven't gotten this other tattoos yet. Is how do you find and pick an artist? Because there's tattoo parlors everywhere.
There are tattoo parlors everywhere. If you know anybody with tattoos, look at their tattoos. If you like the work that they have, ask them, hey, where did you get this? Give that shop a call. Ask for a consultation. The literal word is a consultation. You can go in, sit down. They'll show you everything they've done in their portfolio, because every artist should have a portfolio. If they don't have a portfolio, walk out the door, because they're not an artist. And it's a physical book. It's not on their phone. It won't be on the computer. It's a physical book with pictures of their work. Just ask for a consultation. If you don't like their work, they're not going to get offended. Just say, hey, I'm sorry. I'm going to keep looking. They'll be okay with that.
So if somebody comes in and they want a tattoo that's of a particular format or style, how do you know that that's the right guy to do that?
Ask what he specializes in.
If he doesn't specialize in the style you want, go somewhere else, or ask
one of the other artists in the shop. We do give recommendations.
Like you were like, hey, I don't do color art, I don't do color work, so you need to go.
I've told many people to go to a different shop before, and I've called that shop and said, hey, I got a color coming in for you. And that means they know that I can't do it because I couldn't see color, And that's how the industry works. Tattoo artists aren't against all other tattoo artists. We're actually friends with most artists in the state.
So for the most part, you guys are a network and not necessarily competing. Well, you are as businesses, but not as artists.
Yeah. Because if I don't feel comfortable doing it, I'm going to hand it off to somebody I know who will. Because I'm not going to fuck somebody up for life just to make a buck.
And what's a telltale sign of somebody that you shouldn't trust when you walk into a tattoo parlor?
If you walk in a parlor and there's a dude sitting there eating cheese and crackers with his feet up on the desk, and he ain't done nothing all day, and you ask him to see some of his work and he hands you his phone, walk out. It's all about portfolios. That's the one thing that's not changed over the years. You have to have that binder to prove your work. You can't just have a phone, because anybody could have done that. If you've got a physical picture that you've printed off yourself, people are more inclined to see, okay, this is real. And then the other thing that you've got to worry about is fakers. I had a guy come into my shop who said he'd been tattooing for 20 years. I had him do one tattoo on me, my forceps. And it's probably the worst tattoo I'd ever seen.
I thought they were sabers.
No,
they were cross
they're
sabers.
forceps.
Okay.
And he said he'd been doing it for 20 years. I could tell by the first line he did. I'm like, no, you're a scratcher. Get out of my shop.
All right.
And another thing you don't want to trust is, I'm sorry, I know a few artists out there. If you go into a shop and the artist that's going to be tattooing you doesn't have a single tattoo, you're in the wrong place. And that is 100% facts. And I know a couple really good artists that don't have tattoos, but they still don't fully understand the artwork. They don't know the depth. They make mistakes, you know, because you got to know what you're going through to be able to put people through it.
Right.
But that's about it.
All right, Steve, I very much appreciate you coming on and being a guest here, our first ever guest on the Bird's Eye View. Appreciate you giving us your knowledge about tattoos. I thought this was a great conversation and a lot of knowledge being passed through here. Crow, you got anything else, man?
No, man. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. And Duck, thank you as well. This is awesome.
So this
so
is
fun.
The Bird's Eye View. Make sure you leave down a comment. What tattoo did you get? How did you get it? And were you happy with the artwork? I want to see these comments.
I'd love to see that stuff.
We will catch you next time.
See y'all. Bye.
Bye.